Hi, 8th graders. Welcome to lesson 6.2. We are going to look at reflecting a shape. We have like this little cool house here, and we are going to reflect it over a line. In your investigation, you are reflecting a shape over a line, but the line itself is right up against the shape. It is literally like one of the side lengths that you're reflecting it over. So you're kind of doing like this sort of thing. This time, in this video, I'm going to show you a reflection over a line, so we're going to end up having this be over here. So it's going to be a little bit further away from the line. And we're going to look at how this shape compares to its other shape in there in another video. In this one, we're just looking at reflecting. So we can reflect in a couple of different ways. This is a pretty intricate design, so this would not be my preferred method using an angle ruler, but you could do it. Essentially, I would be looking at every single one of these points that are on this shape, and I'd look at it in comparison to where it is in comparison to the line of reflection. So the line of reflection, I have it at 5 millimeters, and it looks like at 2.6 millimeters I have this line starts, the first line starts. So 2.6 millimeters. So I would look at this and say, okay, 5 millimeters minus 2.6 millimeters, or 5 centimeters minus 2.6 centimeters, I get 2.4 centimeters. So I'm going to add 2.4 centimeters to this side, and I'm going to draw a little dot, or a little like dash. And that's where my shape is going to start. I can see that it has that same characteristic further up, and I could like essentially draw this whole shape out, knowing that if it's reflected, this shape is going to stay a certain distance from this line of reflection. I'm going to label this up. Here's my line of reflection. So all that being said, that's great. The thing is, this is a fairly complex shape. So while I could do that with every single one of these points, and if it's truly reflected, everything on this side is going to end up being reflected on the other side at the exact same distance it currently is from this line of reflection, and it's going to reflect over here. And again, like I said, that's great, all fine and dandy, but again, this is a complex shape. So I'm going to also show you another way to do this, and I like this way. First things first, I'm going to label some of this shape up. There's lots of vertices here, and I'm going to just label them up. So I have an A, B, I'm going to call this C and D, E, F, G, H. There's a lot of vertices on this, and technically there's even two more that I could describe with how the chimney is meeting sort of this roof line of this house, kind of, but I'm not going to go into that much depth. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to take this shape here, and I am going to trace this shape with this patty paper. So if you don't have patty paper at home because I forgot to hand it out to you, you could potentially use tissue paper, or you could potentially use like a piece of saran wrap or wax paper from your kitchen or something like that to do this same thing. You could even use like a kitchen towel or like a paper towel or a napkin, as long as you can draw kind of lightly. You could also use a marker if you're using like the napkin or a kitchen towel thing. But what I'm now going to do is I'm going to trace over this image here with a pencil. And I'm going to do it with a pencil primarily because if I do it with a pencil and I go to reflect it, I will be able to use the lead from the pencil that is stuck to the paper and sort of transfer it over to the other side, which is kind of nice. And it makes my life a little bit easier. So I'm just getting this whole shape traced up, and I've also traced my line of reflection. And notice I have traced the whole line of reflection, so that way I can truly line it up properly, because I'm not just reflecting this shape to this side and it can be anywhere up and down. It needs to truly be a true reflection, so it needs to meet and be exactly horizontal as well to this line of reflection. Essentially, any point here, if I were to find its corresponding point on the other side, needs to meet at a 90-degree angle with this line of reflection. Hint, that's an important thing for your exit pass. All right, so I'm going to label this up so I can see a couple of these points. I'll do E and H. Technically, I could also do all of the rest of them. However, I'm not going to. So now I have this traced image. I'm going to now take this and flip it over and align it with my line of reflection here. When I do that, I can see that I've made essentially a reflected image, but it's not yet on this yellow piece of paper underneath. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to take my pencil, and because my drawing is on the other side of this paper, if I were to start pressing pretty hard on this drawing, I'm going to start to see the line transfer underneath, which is kind of nice. So like the lead from the pencil will transfer onto the paper on the other side, which is kind of nice, and I love it. So I'm going to transfer all of that lead over here so I can get a beautiful image of this super cool modern house here. I'm also going to add point A so I can really see that really well. So now you can see I have it there. Now I just want to darken this up so that way it truly looks like a reflected image, where it looks like more presentable and more professional. So I'm going to darken this up. I like patty paper and I like angle rulers for this sort of situation, so I can make nice straight lines, but then I could use that tracing to sort of set me up for success with the reflection. Now in geometry, when you're in geometry, you'll learn how to reflect shapes using like a compass and a protractor and stuff, but right now patty paper works perfectly. So I have this point A here. I know up from A there's B. The chimney is C and D. I have E at the corner of the roof. We have F down here at the bottom of this like little patio shelf thing. G and H. So now I have my two images there. Now, if somebody were to look at this, they'd have no idea which one is the original and which one is the image of the original, or the copy of the original. So I need to label these up a little bit. This here, we call this our original. You can call it your original shape, your original image, it doesn't matter. We can also call this our pre-image. Okay? Now, this other shape over here, this is called our image. I know it sounds a little weird to have the copy be the image and then the original be the pre-image, but the pre-image is essentially saying this is before it was copied, and here is the copy. Okay? So image means copy, pre-image means original. So here is our image, and the way that I can actually indicate that this is my image without having to say this is my image, without writing that down, is with what's called primes. Prime, just like Optimus Prime, okay? We're talking transformers here. I mean, we're doing transformation, so it makes sense that we have primes. So prime is a little apostrophe that we can put next to every single one of these labels here. Every single one of these letters, if we put a little apostrophe next to it, it indicates to us that these are copies. Every single one of these are copies of the original. So the prime means that you have a copy. Kind of cool, huh? So now we have a copy of our original, and we can see that all of these are labeled up with primes. I have one more video where I'm going to talk about corresponding angles and corresponding sides and like big ideas that you could take away from doing a reflection over a line. So watch that next. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful and I hope it inspires you with what you need to do on your actual investigation. Don't hesitate to ask questions if you have any, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.